Greetings, all of you brand new, incoming, and returning sport club officers. I am your 2020-2021 SCC secretary, but more importantly, I'm coming to give you some real information about the funding proposal process, one of the most fundamental and I'd say most commonly exercised functions of the SCC year to year. So let's get into this information. I'm going to start sharing my screen here and seeing what we can do. Maybe a little Control Alt Shift H. Now I don't have any encumbrance with my controls. So we are looking at a Google Drive right now. If you're unfamiliar with this, I'd like to meet you. And I'd like to know how you got this far in life without ever seeing it. But let's do a quick search here for something called All Members, which I'm actually already in, but I'm just showing you how easy it is to track this down. And all of us, amazingly, somehow, all of us have access to this folder. So I'm going to go right in there and see if I can track down what I'm looking for. And voila, we have another folder, a subfolder called Funding Proposals. I wonder what's in it. Ooh, check this out. It looks like a historical pantheon of great funding proposals across the years. But here is what I'm most interested in. This guy at the bottom is an opening slide of name of sports club. That is going to be your template. Now, like a great baking show, I have already prepared everything ahead of time. So we're going to speed right ahead and check out this funding proposal presentation template. This is a great place to start. It has pretty much all the info you're going to need to put together a really great presentation. But I'm wondering if there's anything more than this, anything more than just a template. I think it starts first by, let's just go to our governing documents, right? You can't go wrong there. So once again, coming out of all members folder here, which you should get more familiar with if you're not already, we can find the club constitution, the official SEC constitution for this year. So I've gone ahead and sped straight to the funding proposal section, and we can read this all together word by word. No, let's speed that up. You can do that on your own time because now you have this resource. You know how to access it. Talking about funding caps, though, there is definitely a process going on here, which I believe Article 6 outlines really well. You have eligibility issues, you have events themselves, like what is this all going towards? And if it has anything to do with an event on campus, guess what comes first? That's right, good old event request. You see it here in Article 6, Section 3, subsection D. We've got to submit an event request. Now, that used to be happening on Community, but now we are starting fresh with our new platform, MyRaft. So going forward, all of your event requests will be through MyRaft. So you submit your event, you request it, you just throw that out to the world and say, hey, what about this idea? And hopefully that event request is approved by the authorities in charge of that. And then you can move on with an approved or pending event request to then create your presentation. Again, back to the template. We're going to talk about all these things. And I wonder where all these things come from. These feel really familiar, these terms, talking about requirements of community service, requirements of fundraising, requirements of representing the school and sports clubs, like travel and doing things. So it feels like we're really talking about one of our backbone governing documents, the tier chart. I've started to use a free online service that we all have access to called Lumen for checking out PDF. So bear with me here. We got to it. We got through. This is our tier chart requirements for this current year. I don't know if these specific ones will stay for the future, especially as we return to in-person learning environments. This was made specifically for this weird year of 2020, 2021, where everything was virtual and there was an entire travel ban across the whole CSU system. But anyway, we're looking at our requirements here. And these are all required of different tier clubs. If you don't know what tier you are, um, definitely ask a member of the e-board. But then once you know where your club stands, it's very easy to use this document to find out what your club needs to do and what it has access to in terms of funding proposals. So here at the very bottom, the bottom line, as it were, we get to see our funding proposals and by tier, how much you're allowed to request of the council. So we have this, I believe. There was an adjustment made recently. I want to check our budget because I know our constitution references that everything will be based on our tier chart. And so I'm wondering if anything links us back to our budget. I thought it did. I thought the budget was really the final word, but let me review here along with you. How fun is this? Funding caps are set based on the tier chart. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so it's just tier chart. I thought there was something to do with the budget. Perhaps not. Proposing for funds. I'll have to review this. Anyway, looking here at our budget, it's helpful. It tells you what tier you are. So here we have club by club with their base operating fund. So it's if you're afraid of asking anybody or talking to another human, then you can just do it all by yourself here. Checking out our base operating fund section, it shows club by club what tier each club falls into. And again, these tier charts really meeting all of these requirements or surpassing the requirements of a given tier will probably be the best way to advocate for your club's changing a tier status, or from year to year as you reactivate, moving up or perhaps moving down a tier, whatever you and your club most desires. Here we are back to the Constitution for no reason. Sorry, we wanted to look at the budget, and we have our funding proposals here. We have a couple that have already happened this year. How exciting. You can see the process in action. Ooh, big bucks. Way over our funding caps here. Oh, and this is the adjustment because historically each tier has been half of the next tier amount. So here you see it stepping. If you double tier 3, that will equal tier 2, and same for tier 1. So it's sort of a clear incentive to try to get our clubs to be more competitive and more representative and higher up in the tiers. So we have all of this information that I think ties together and is necessary to use to create a successful funding proposal. So we are referencing our Constitution first. Amazingly, we're getting all the way in those weeds. Then we're looking at our budget because that's really focusing all about the money and monetary resources that we have as a council. And beyond that, the tier chart and this funding proposal template, I would say, are the 4 things that you need to know and need to be referencing before making any funding proposal. I wish you and all of your clubs great luck and maybe some ideas for building your program. Let's see what we can do this year. Hats off to you all. I wish you the best.